So we ended up having, we were so close to 100K day launching.
I'm here with my friend Tanner. We're together in Barcelona. It's very rare that someone comes through Barcelona. So here we are in my home and having a little sit down chat.
Me.
Yes. It's our first time meeting in person, but we have been online friends for over 3 years, 4 years. And Tanner was instrumental, can't emphasize that enough, in helping me launch my membership site called On Video. And at the time, we did a founding members launch to over 2,000 people.
So crazy, in 5 days.
Yeah, and looking back, I was just like, okay, those are the numbers. And now I'm like,
that was crazy.
Insane. 2,000 people paying 20 bucks a month. And you helped me construct the pricing, the annual offer, the bonuses. Like you were key. So I see you as my membership coach.
I love it. So fun.
And Tanner is a membership expert, but not in the business niche like me. You are in the
crafting niche. We teach people how to craft,
which is a massive industry.
Yeah.
What's the
I believe it's over $40 billion annually.
Right. Yeah.
So people are spending money, they have time, they're really committed to their craft.
Wild. And also, Tanner's been in the crafting niche since he was
11. I've been on YouTube. This is my 15-year anniversary.
Insane. I love it. So yeah. And also Tanner's energy, his vibe, his personality,
so
very sweet, very like demure, let's call it. But he is a powerhouse with this membership that now has how many people?
10,000 or so.
10,000 members in the crafting niche, but you've also added courses and now you have a group coaching program. So we're going to cover it all.
It's going to be so good.
You started in the crafting niche at 11 years old.
Yes.
You started YouTubing right after. So would you say you were born with this entrepreneurial drive, or are you just a survivalist?
So I really got online when I got so I teach on a Cricut machine primarily. I got that machine in 2010. My mom had went through a pretty bad divorce and she had separated, we had left, and I got this machine as like a I'm sorry gift.
Oh,
yeah.
For your mom?
Yeah. So she was finishing our basement to be like my hangout room. I ended up becoming my craft room and I just had to learn how to use it. So in 5th grade, I logged onto YouTube for the first time. And this was before influencers were a thing. People were just sharing what they know.
Great.
You know, that's the flip camera.
And this is the starting years of YouTube.
Yes, second year. Second or third year of actual traffic, I would say. And yeah, I just got online to learn how to use it. And within 2 months, every day I would get home from school, hop on YouTube. Saturday morning, hop on YouTube. And in March of 2010, my mom said, Tanner, you love to talk. What if you made videos?
Oh, okay. So you weren't making, you were just watching.
Yeah, for 2 or 3 months. My mom was like, what if you make videos? I was like, that's amazing. And I just logged on and made a channel.
Wow. So you were the Mr. Beast of crafting, basically.
Yeah. My channel is called Mr. Cricut Crazy.
No way.
I swear.
Everyone had the Mr.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, so you decided on a channel that would focus specifically on how to use the Cricut machine?
Yes, I was just sharing my experience, making little vlogs, giving reviews of what products I liked, what I didn't. So crazy. From a webcam or a flip camera.
Yeah. Okay, so then when and how did you make your first dollar from this Cricut adventure?
Have I told you this? So I ended up creating a physical product.
Oh.
It was acrylic stamps.
Okay.
A year after making my channel, I was like, okay, I've got to figure out how to monetize this and make money.
Because you had an audience, people were subscribing?
I had 850 subscribers.
Okay.
So back then, 850 subscribers was so much more denser because if you were subscribed, you were watching everything you were subscribed to. It's very different because there was no algorithm. It's very, very different. So 850 people probably have 300, 400 views instantly on a video. So it's about a 50%, I would say, rate, from back then. So I was like, I have something I could sell. So at 12 years old, I call manufacturers and...
Cricut manufacturers?
No, it was acrylic stamp manufacturers and asked them to manufacture me stamps. So that's kind of how I learned how to launch. So I would launch a new set of 4 stamp collections a month.
Custom-made stamps.
It would be a whole collection. Yeah. It was each set was about $17. Or you get the bundle with all 4 which would be pretty substantial.
Pretty good pricing.
Like $75 to $100.
Wow. Okay.
I ended up learning how to ship, package, customer service. About a year later, I got approached to be a content creator for a brand. And they would pay $35 for a tutorial.
Oh,
so
to make
that's
a tutorial video for them.
So I transitioned from 2012. Yeah, very low.
Now we know.
But I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And
You're making
it was
money as a
very
teenager.
simple. I would make 4 videos for them a month, and it was one day of work and make over $100.
Okay,
like,
nice.
super great to be 13.
In addition to your product sales.
Yes. I ended up transitioning out of product because I didn't like the shipping, the manufacturing. I went on to build a craft website
I'm
with
just
my
thinking
now
of you
wife.
doing this while you're in school doing homework.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I ended up transitioning very quickly to an online school because I wanted to pursue business and making my crafts like my job. My mom ended up losing her job and had so many like financial hurdles that I kind of, by the time I was 13 or 14, kind of like took on a lot of responsibility figuring out how to make money, figuring out how to ask the right questions, figuring out how other people were making money online. And I wanted to do it for myself.
You had that drive very young to help your family.
Yeah,
that was the initial drive.
Yeah.
And then how did your wife enter the scene that you just mentioned?
So I met my wife on Facebook as a crafter. So we were both crafters as teenagers, like 13 years old, had separate craft blogs, and we ended up just like connecting. And
not competitive.
No, we met in like a collaborative, like they called it a blog hop. You would hop over to different people's blogs and like leave comments in their giveaways, kind of like Instagram giveaways.
Instagram.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
So you met online, and then when did you meet in person?
2013, we met in January
As teenagers.
At a craft conference in Anaheim, California. And at that conference, we noticed bloggers having additional blogs with like other people. So we're like, what if we did a teen crafting blog? And right after then, I had met up with a lady named Margot, and she did this full time, and she lived in my area. And I ended up inviting her and her family out to dinner. At 13 years old, when I got home after meeting her, I was like, can I take you all out to dinner? Like, I really want to figure out like what this looks like to work full time online. And she was like, Tanner, you need to go all in, leverage everything you have, your unique angle. You're a teenager in the crafting space. You should be making a lot of money.
Really good advice.
Amazing advice. She was like, start focusing in on that, pitching yourself as this next generation crafter and helping, steward these companies. And from there, we went on to pitching brands and ended up with a 6-figure like ongoing contract with a paint company for 2 years.
As teenagers. I'm just laughing thinking back to what I was doing at 13 years old. I was also entrepreneurial, but I was printing out flyers, taping them to the mailbox, and offering piano lessons.
Oh,
very different.
So fun.
But I was not in the online space, although I'm older than you, so it wasn't like we had YouTube back then. But you just locked in, and you also, so you tried product sales, physical product sales, then you got into brand partnerships.
Yes.
And you got a 6-figure contract doing what?
We ended up running their Vine account, their Tumblr account, one blog post that would be cross-posted on their platform and ours, and one YouTube video that would be cross-posted. Yeah, I remember my contracts.
Okay, love it.
So that's what we did. So it was a little bit of, they got to own the content and repurpose, and then they would take it to their distributors like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, and say, hey, we're marketing on these platforms to drive sales to your stores. So what I got to see was the behind the scenes of how they leverage justifying the dollars spent, the payments. Like I just got such a unique view of the craft market, and it just allowed me to get paid for my content because I was able to put it on our channels. We ended up building our blog to like almost 1 million page views a month. So we ended up building multiple streams of income. What I noticed is as soon as money came in, it was right back out. So high margin. Again, I was also supporting my family financially.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It was a lot. And I would be driving home from our office. We ended up with an office space because like it was just outgrowing my basement, which was great. And awful at the same time.
Yeah.
I'd be driving home and I'd be like, how is this gonna work when I have kids? You just got to meet all 3 of my kids.
Yeah. Yes.
And it just wouldn't work.
I'm like, you're 15 years old, but you're
By then, I'm probably
cosplaying as a
16 or
30-year-old.
17.
Right. You
by
have the
time.
responsibilities of someone
Yeah.
who's in their 30s or 40s.
Probably. I don't know. When I first met Margot, my goal was $40,000 a year. And within a year, we hit that.
Wow.
My personal pay.
Just like someone's salary outside
Yes,
of
that
college.
was in my area.
Yeah.
I live in a very rural area in Tennessee. And so $40,000 is like a teacher's salary, first goal.
That was my first salary.
Yeah. So that was the first year. The second year, I did 80.
Wow.
And then we ended up in the 6 figures by the third year. So it was like I was doubling my income with quite a bit of expenses to make that happen. And in 2017, I lost 2 6-figure contracts. And I was like, okay, I'm graduating high school this year.
Of course.
And everything's falling apart. This is great. And what happened was, this is kind of like how I've created a thesis on it, what a pivot is. And it really humbled me to, for the first time, like really look at what a scale down to scale up looked like and to like really rewrite my future.
Scale down to scale up. You didn't know you were doing
I didn't
that at the
know
time.
it. I kept telling myself that I'm like, something better is to coming.
Okay.
I don't know if I was creating this result for myself or what was really happening. But I just kept telling myself, I'm going to scale down to scale up. I'm going to scale down to scale up. So I moved my office into my now garage and refinished my garage and turned it into this cool space. And I read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek.
Also life-changing for me.
The biggest life-changing book I could ever recommend to anyone. If you just do every weird thing he asks you to do, your life will be changed.
Yeah, and especially at that time, I read it in 2012, so maybe it was around the same time as you, but that concept was really new. Like the idea of working only a few hours a week and figuring out a business that doesn't require you for every aspect of it. So I think Tim's example was selling vitamins and supplements. And I remember thinking, oh, I'll start a video production service-based business because that's what I was studying. But the thing that made me stop was, wait, I need to buy equipment, I need to meet people in person. And Tim's philosophy is do it
has
online.
to be something online, something that can run without you and requires nothing of you. So it was really, really fascinating. So in 2017, I read that book and he taught a lot on why info products were harder to replicate than supplements and things like that, which was a whole new perspective. Because I thought information, in my opinion, at this point, I'd never bought a course.
Right.
I had never taken training. I had never invested in that way. I was all self-taught in many regards. So he ends up telling you, like, figure out, like, what's the one thing you know better than anyone else. And I had actually left this die-cutting Cricut space and went to general crafting, like painting, thrifting, things like that. And then when I read that book, I was like, okay, I need to go back to my roots. What market do I know the best? It was actually the Cricut market. And this is a crazy story. I ended up going to a conference that we attended every year. Cricut had never been there. And they were there that year, just walking the floor, which was interesting. And they walked up to me and they're like, hey, Tanner, like, would you fly back out here in 2 weeks? We can't tell you why. Normally, Tanner would be like, I need to see like what we're doing.
Is it worth my time?
Is it worth my time? Yeah. But again, I was being humbled. So I was like, I actually have nothing better to do. So in 2 weeks, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'd been working on like this course for Cricut. So I ended up going to their offices and I'm in a boardroom with 7 or 8 other influencers.
Oh, wow.
And Elise, I'm truly like one of the smallest fish at this table.
You know everyone there.
Yes. Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm a nobody.
That's so cool. And you're how old at this time?
I was graduating high school, so like 17, 18. And they're like, we would like you to work on what they were calling Project Athena. Which was crazy. And it was their brand new die cutting machine. And they offered me a 12-month contract to help launch this machine. They wanted all different craft markets. They wanted to be across the board, testing all areas.
So this was very early days influencer marketing.
Yeah, 2017, it was pretty starting. It wasn't as much like UGC as it is now, as common, but in my world, I'd been doing it many years, so it was pretty common. And they wanted to sponsor one article and one post a month for a year. And the only caveat is that you can only use the Cricut products and machines.
One article and one post, not even a YouTube video.
One video would be looped into it. Okay. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm in. And here is where my life started to change. We go back out to Utah once or twice more that year to launch the machine. When the CEO is launching it to the public for the first time, I had pre-recorded not one, not two, 8 videos on this new machine.
Oh, wow.
And they gave us one before their own staff got one.
Oh, smart.
This table of influencers were the first to launch the machine.
So you had it already to play with.
I had it for 6 weeks before.
And you were getting ready, like, to help drive traffic to your videos.
Yes. So as
smart.
the CEO is sitting there at this event, it's being live streamed, there's about 400 people there. I'm sitting there as someone hadn't taught Cricut in years on my YouTube channel, going from unlisted, publish, unlisted, publish, unlisted, publish. And the traffic that day went crazy. They were like, who is this guy? What is he doing? Why does he have this?
Genius.
And Cricut didn't pay for any of that. But I wanted to own that market. I wanted to own that machine so well. And I just went all in.
And this was before YouTube was even paying you for views.
Right.
You were just literally growing your audience.
Yes.
Wow.
So that is kind of how I got like such a firm foundation that is like truly like a God thing, where it just all worked out in that regard. And I had recently started getting paid to host on live streams on Facebook for another brand.
Okay.
So when people started asking questions like, does it really cut fabric? I was like, oh, I'll just go live and show them how great this fabric does cut. So I started going live weekly, becoming daily on YouTube, for this machine, and from the experience from working with the brand.
And what was your subscriber count at this time?
Like 20,000.
Okay.
I had a solid base. What's funny is that in the process of scaling down to scale up, sometimes you have to pivot niches. And what happens is you have to leave your existing audience you have to say, it's kind of like a scaling down to scale up from an audience perspective. You know, a lot of people don't want to buy a $400 or $500 machine to craft. And I had to be okay with telling those people, like, I am moving on. Like, I am not a painter or crafter anymore. And it's very scary because a lot of our brain and our scarcity is like, no, I have to please all of this current audience of 20,000. But what I was doing was setting myself up for an audience of now 700,000. But in the time, you just don't know that.
Of course.
So
700,000 YouTube subscribers today.
Yes, as of today. So I had to really pivot and be okay with it for myself to let those people go, to release that audience. You have to have the belief that where you're at now is not where you're going. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do in a fast evolution of online, switching to short form, changing YouTube styles so often. You have to be willing and flexible.
What was driving you? Was it business data, market data that you saw, or was it more of a gut feeling or a spiritual experience?
Yeah, it would probably be a little bit of all of the above. It was more like I want to be, at this time I knew, Tim taught me, I want a product-based business that is digital and direct to consumers. And that is what I was going all in on. And he teaches in the book, if someone makes a financial investment in like a camera, a machine, and then you teach them how to use it, they're more likely to buy your program because they're already invested.
Wow.
And I was like, this checks all the boxes. Wow. And I was like, this is perfect. One thing about the hobby niche that I love is that they have 2 factors that any other parts online usually don't have. They usually have money and they have time. In other demographics and economic statuses, it's hard to have both.
Yeah, that's a good combination for your customers to have.
Because I need them to have time to create,
Yeah.
and I also need them to have the finances available.
Right.
Usually people with finances don't have time, And people with time usually don't have finances.
Is it because you're mostly attracting an older niche?
Yeah.
They've worked, they have their money,
Yes.
now they have time. Okay.
Yes. So I work with a lot of people that are going into retirement, looking at what retirement looks like. They're deep into retirement, things like that. So it's super fun. It's some of the most fulfilling work I've ever been able to do, is to get to work with my audience, and it's so fun.
You're a celebrity in this space.
We love it. We absolutely love it. So after we launched the machine, the night it truly was able to go live with the public, I asked Cricut if I could sell a course.
Oh,
So
talk to them about it.
I said, hey, could I sell a course teaching the basics of this machine? And the director of marketing, God love you, Tiffany, she said, yeah. So
Okay, so sell a course for them in partnership with them?
Absolutely not.
Oh, so you even
100%
asked
my own.
for permission, which no one does anymore.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to keep my contracts.
Yeah, fair.
And I was over delivering like no one else on the team. No one else at that conference table was doing above what was contracted. So I was like, I think they saw that. And I ended up selling my first digital product.
Okay.
I had dropped Courtney off at the airport because we were still doing all our client work. The night of the launch, I had not prepared anything for this pre-launch, but I knew I wanted to sell a course.
Okay.
And Tim teaches a minimal viable pre-sale.
Okay.
So my minimal viable pre-sale was a $27, 8-week video course experience. I sold this.
So you had the idea of it?
Yes.
Nothing else?
Nothing else. I had like 2 hours that I dropped Courtney off at the airport. I went to a coffee shop at
Very
Starbucks.
different than how launching is today.
Yes.
Love it.
But I opened what I knew. I didn't know what a funnel was. I didn't have email marketing experience. I had nothing. I knew a little bit. I had a MailChimp account. I had nothing too crazy. What I did was I wrote an article on WordPress with a Canva graphic, a little intro to what I'm selling, a product overview, and a PayPal link.
Oh, okay. Very basic sales page.
This $27, I ended up selling 600 in the next 2 months.
Wow.
And I would go live and I'd be like, hey, if you're buying your machine, you can use my link below. And then you can go grab my course for $27. And after the course was over, I was truly exhausted because I did it live for 8 weeks. And at the end of the 8 weeks, people were like, what's next? I'm like, what do you mean what's next? I'm going on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, I need a break. And that was the first time I was like, oh, like, people want ongoing support. People want an ongoing relationship with people they like working with. So I was like, I could feed the animal another course, or I could have a membership.
Ooh, so you were familiar with what a membership was at that time?
Yes, and that's what I wanted.
Okay.
But I knew I wanted to be high end, which is so funny in the craft space, like $20 a month is expensive. And I got great advice from one of my mentors to start high. You can always lower your price. It's harder to raise your price. In November of 2017, I launched my membership and welcomed by the end of the year, 200 people.
Oh, wow.
But what's crazy, Elise, is that most people went annual. I had never, all the time I had done my numbers, my metrics, my goal was 60 people. I was like, this is minimally viable if I have 60 people. I ended up selling 250 or so, but so many people wanted to save the money and get the most. They wanted to pay the least and get the most.
Yeah, that's something you taught me.
Yeah, and it serves so well. It continues to serve so well. And what I remember looking at the end of that first year, which I had been, selling courses since September to December, I looked at the money, more money than I truly ever had because it was so highly profitable. I said, this is my startup money.
Oh.
I said, this is the money that is go create my multi-million-dollar business. And I have never, I put in $1,200 to get my membership up in the beginning from the proceeds of the $13,000. And ever since then, our business has grew to multi-million-dollars a year.
Wow. Ever since then, just like that. Okay, so what I'm getting from your story is you know how to spot market opportunities and you know how to move fast. And even before you're ready, you sell.
Yeah.
Where did that ability to sell come from?
I think I was truly, I'm just a natural born salesperson, and not in a transactional way, in more of a, if we're going to dinner, like rallying on where I think we should go. Like just being an advocate for a group, like really wanting to guide people. And I think what really it comes down to is that if your free content isn't enough, if you truly believe that your audience needs more than what your free content can provide, it is your responsibility to sell them.
Yes.
So if you look at your content and you say, if they just follow your free content, is that enough? And if it is enough, that's questionable. Why are you giving it all away? Number one, the answer should be it's not enough. And then the second question is, okay, if it's not enough, then what? And mine was always like, oh, they need to go through the I call it a firm foundation. My membership is built on 3 principles. I want to inspire you to create. I want to educate you on how to do it properly. But my most important job is to motivate you to close the laptop and get to work, to really create. Because we know we can get dopamine from watching this video, from experiencing YouTube and social media. But where the fun works really lies is getting your hands into the craft, whether that is for your audience building that funnel, or for my audience, picking up the machine and designing and then creating. It's very important, and that's our goal as marketers, is to be able to rally behind that mission and to really sell the experience and to sell them on why doing the work is important, and that's enough. And I think so many people forget that.
Yeah, I think you've touched on something that course creators can relate to, in that we can get caught up in the selling and the marketing of the course. But if our students aren't going through the course, if they're not taking the steps after watching our tutorial video, then what's the point? And it seems like you focused on really getting people to pick up their craft, pick up their machine and learn it and use it and get something out of it.
That's the goal. I think that's the goal for any product, is you're really wanting to champion them to do the work, but they need such a firm foundation. And that's why, for me, my program teaches you that firm foundation before you can do anything else, which has been fun.
So we met, I think you were 5 or 6 years into running your membership, and it was massive at that time. But I also noticed how you joined your YouTube strategy to drive constant sales of your membership, because you weren't closing it and opening it. It was like always open. Whenever I'd look at your YouTube videos, you designed them in a way that it almost felt like I was watching the shopping channel.
Yes, and that was very intentional.
Right. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about how your YouTube strategy developed as your membership grew.
Yeah. Here's what I noticed. The more time I spent with my audience, the more they would buy. So the more time I would go live, I could get off air and I could look and see, was this a successful show? Very similar to the Home Shopping Network.
Okay.
Because I am putting them in a situation where I feel like I'm a direct response marketer, where I want to see people say, me, Tanner, this is me.
Right.
Like I want to change, I want to grow, I want to evolve, I'm in. And I got to test this from going to New York City with a friend, and he wanted to go see Wendy Williams, a live taping. And he's very charismatic, super funny, and they were getting people in line to pitch questions to ask Wendy. And he asked her this crazy question, which is,
Wendy, my mom wants to get married, but I'll lose my funding for my college if she gets married. What should I do?
Oh, wow.
Which was a really good question.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, I ended up being by myself with all these people for this taping, because he was behind, he was about to go on air.
Got chosen.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm always very cup half full. Like, what can I get out of this? And as I looked around, I was like, this is my demographic. Middle-aged women.
Right.
If they will watch Wendy Williams gossip for an hour, would my ideal client watch me craft for an hour?
Oh my gosh.
And at this point, I had grew my membership a little bit less than 1,000 members, but it was slow moving. I was like, okay, like we're gonna have to have a 10x jump. Like something is gonna have to change. And that is when I got home from that trip and I committed to going live every day for a year.
Wow.
And what happened at the end of that year, I had $1 million a year craft business.
Wow.
And I got to know what holidays moved the needle, what holidays didn't. And I got to know my audience at such a deep level. And one thing you'll know when you watch my channel, which I think is different than how most people approach marketing, is that you can be a member of my membership and get so much value out of our shows and our content, or you could not be a member and you could get so much value and you'd want to be a member. So this...
You want to be in the club.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the content, it's very hard to create and craft content that is relevant for existing customer and new customer. But if you can figure out a way that it flows together so well, you'll constantly be effective with churn and be able to justify the added time for creation, because not only is it a marketing lever, it's now a retention lever. Because
Because your current members are watching the channel
What
as well.
I see a lot of people do with memberships or courses is they keep so much of it behind the paywall. I would challenge people to integrate more of this experience where there's something special if you are a member. For ours, it's files.
Right.
So I only use my own artwork that's in our membership.
Okay.
So when you're watching a show,
that makes sense. So
when
you're
watching,
demoing your own
yes,
files that they can get
which is
within
why
member.
the members get all this added value. They're like, I'm only promised one class a month as a member, but I can go on air every week with Tanner and get so much value with my membership. And the non-member can see me teach, educate, and my style, and be like, oh, I want to work with them. So it's retention and it's marketing seamlessly integrated into my YouTube strategy.
Yeah. And by the end of the year, after posting and going live every
Yes.
single day, your membership was bringing in $1 million.
Yes.
How does that work? You have your monthly recurring
You have
revenue
monthly, recurring, and then you have the annual.
plus annual, and all together it was $1 million.
Yes.
Okay. Talk to me about your team at this time, because going live every day sounds like a lot of work, especially
much.
for my audience of small business owners. I'm now a part-time work from home mom.
Yes.
I would love to go live every single day
Yeah.
and build up that audience on my channel, but how do you systematize that, or what kind of team
So
members
you have
did you have?
to think about, I ran my business and still to this day run my business from the lens of the 4-hour work week. So I took myself out of everything in the business besides marketing.
Wow.
So my
Okay.
only job,
You're a delegator. You're a master delegator.
you have to learn delegation
Okay.
when you want to be on air and be as close as I require because I want to be close to my audience. Everything else, if it can be delegated, it's delegated. Throughout this time, personally, I hired a cleaner. I had recently bought my first house around this time. I hired a cleaner. I hired someone to meal prep for me. I had a full-time producer.
Okay.
My wife is our creative director, so she would be coming up with. I would tell her like what I'm thinking. Like we would look at what's needed, and she would help like create the actual projects. Like
Right.
making a project a day was a challenge,
sure.
you know, on top of, at this point, this is crazy. This is how I built a firm foundation, and it's kind of crazy. I was also posting a video a day.
On top of going live?
On top of going live, because think about it. Okay, hear me out, Elise.
I feel so unproductive right now.
No. Elise, listen. So I would batch shoot once or twice a month, and it was the funnel. Think of a marketing funnel. The recorded videos is top of funnel. The live streams, bottom of funnel.
Oh.
So,
okay,
so
that's
we're
an interesting
bringing
way.
people in with the organic videos we're posting. They're subscribing. Then they're getting notified this new channel is going live. And that's where we're converting.
You're selling.
I mean, at this point, I didn't know what email marketing was. Truly. Like, I didn't have a funnel. I didn't have ads.
Wow.
I was
You'd use
very...
YouTube as your funnel marketing.
YouTube was my funnel marketing.
Wow.
Top of funnel, they would stay in the channel, and then each day we're converting people on live.
Wow. Like the shopping channel.
Very much like the shopping
so
channel.
cool.
Very bare bones marketing. The first time I met with a conversion copywriter, Perna, which I think we both collaborated with, I love her. She's like, Tanner, you're like launching every day. I'm like, yeah.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, isn't it great? Like,
No one else is doing this.
Have you been to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's?
Michael's.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're always running sales. You're never gonna go in that store and there's not a sale.
Right.
So on my show, the Christmas sale, the Halloween sale, the Memorial Day, Labor Day,
There's a reason for
there's
something.
a reason
all the
to
time.
get people to move.
Wow. Okay.
And that built a firm foundation. Today we go live once a week. I have a lot more elaborate marketing channels. There's a lot more going on.
Yeah.
But you could do this one person, one assistant, for sure. Especially if you're not teaching, having so much hands-on, needing studio space and things like that.
Well, let's fast forward to marketing in today, because something we were talking about was YouTube marketing today is very different. And YouTube is not trying to play the short form video game. They like long form video. So if you're a small business owner, can you figure out a way to hit record or hit go live on your camera once or twice a week and find a reason to gab with your audience or grab a whiteboard and do a demo. And I know it sounds easier than what it is.
It is work.
But you developed that habit and that muscle, and then it got easier with time, I'm sure.
Yes.
And a team.
Way easier. And before I went live on my own channel, I had been invited on local news to go on air and like teach over every holiday craft. So I had time getting familiar, but what really got me prepared for this level of live creation was back when I first started YouTube, I didn't even know how to edit a video. Instead of saying, oh, I don't know how to edit a video, can't post it today, I would hit record. And if I made a mistake, I got two options. I could learn how to roll with it, or I would stop and start over. I had two options, and a lot of times I love to figure out how to roll with it. And that
takes a skill.
It's a skill, it's developed, you learn it, you develop it, and it's a muscle that you'll grow. But you have to be willing to swallow your pride. You have to be willing and to stop accepting excuses and just say, here's the cards I'm dealt, here's what I want. And be willing to take away any outside factor and just go with it, you know? And I think B plus work gets, will get you there.
C plus is good enough.
Exactly,
I like to say.
yeah.
Okay, so when we met in 2012, I believe your membership was your main focus at that time. It was over 10,000 members.
In 22?
2022.
Yes.
Maybe more than 10,000. But it was your revenue generator. You helped me launch my membership with 2,000 founding members. And I'm so glad I have that product to this day because it's bread and butter MRR, monthly recurring revenue, so that even if I don't launch or do anything one month, there's still the revenue from our monthly members. Then when those yearly members renew, all of a sudden we have a spike in revenue. So there's so many pros to that model. But since then, you've added in different offerings, digital courses. And so tell me about your business as it looks today.
So we pretty much have, we've tested a lot, we've done a lot, and really what it's came back to is a simple offer and an advanced offer.
Okay.
So we have our two. So we have our simple offer, we have our advanced offer, which is teaching people how to run an Etsy shop, primarily now in a digital or automated way. Which is really what my audience needed. In 2020, we developed a program that was teaching just the basic philosophy of selling, like my core beliefs on selling, and what it looks like to put yourself out there and be open to what happens. Selling your crafts to your like on your social media, starting an Etsy shop, like very basic principles. And that sold very well and people had amazing results. And we sold that for probably up until 2023 pretty well. We launched it twice a year. We had an evergreen funnel, ads, did an evergreen webinar.
And how much did it cost?
It was $500. So $497 was the price. And by 2023, the evergreen webinar was not high ROAS. My launches were getting harder. Like you noticed, it was just a harder sell.
I think we all took a dip in those years because ads stopped working as well.
Yes, the 2021 like iOS update, like all of that. So what happened, what I noticed was my clients were wanting more. And they were asking, like, Tanner, what do you think on print on demand? And there was just all of these different levers that my clients were asking, and people were giving feedback. They were like, but I need more of like the process. And I truly believe, like, if you just get started, you will figure it out. That's my belief. And like anything I do, how I want people to like be optimistic and, curiosity in their business. I think it's one of the best just emotions to have, to be curious, right? So what I ended up doing was burning the program completely to the ground.
Oh, wow.
My team did not believe in it. I really didn't believe in it from a process. Like, it was just not truly, we were not able to market at the level that we wanted to because we didn't believe everyone would get the same result.
When you say burn it to the ground, how much revenue were you saying goodbye to?
500 to 600K a year.
Okay.
So it was a decent, it was a decent, we noticed it on a yearly basis, and that was some of the hardest work I've ever done. Someone who comes from almost foreclosing on their home, I believe everyone should be paid every day. I love security, I love stability. I have a staff of 20 full-time people, so we have bills to pay.
Yep.
Not only
People are
personally,
relying on you.
we have people relying, but we had to, very similar to when I pivoted in 2017, I had to practice that same belief again. We're gonna scale this program down to scale it up. I had no results to back this up that it would work. And I remember getting coaching from my coach at the time that said, Tanner, you could burn this down and rebuild it, and your revenue of this offer for the year or however long you're gonna do it, it may not go up. It may go down for a short time period.
That's honest.
And I said, okay, I wanna be 100% in belief of my offers that I am willing to do that. And we did not sell that offer for a year. And that was the hardest process for me to be okay with, and just to be able to sit with and focus my time in other areas. And as we're learning, so what we did was we launched 2 Etsy shops with a faceless brand, no social media marketing, no ads, only the Etsy algorithm. And we started testing. And for about 12, 18 months, we were testing, taking notes, developing over and over and over. And by the time we had our process down, we started documenting it, filming it, and by May of 2024, we were ready to plan a launch.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in this time, you also had a lot going on personally in your life.
Yes.
Like there was a reason why you needed to chill a little bit on your business, right?
Yeah. We got to adopt all 3 of our babies in August of 2024. We were going through the whole adoption. We're foster parents.
Yeah.
So, finishing, we had to terminate parental rights. There was a lot, just very heavy circumstances.
Well, when I met you in 2022, I think you were welcoming baby twins to your home.
My babies, yeah.
And so here you are in the throes of early parenthood and also growing your business and also burning this product down. And then not too long ago, just a year ago, another baby entered the home.
Our twins' birth mom had another baby, and we felt inclined to welcome little Colton.
Yes, who I got to meet the other day. So cute. And now they're your adopted children.
They're all adopted.
Family.
We got passports. We couldn't even travel, without getting permission. So we just feel so light and free, to be able to complete that. It was so much heavier than we thought it would be, but it's beautiful and we loved it. In May, we decided to start this pre-launch. I brought my entire staff that's local out on my boat.
Oh.
And we started launch planning.
This is to launch the new version of this product.
We had to rename the program. We had to build new freebies. We had to build demand. We had to really start a pre-launch runway.
Okay. It had to feel fresh and new, not like an old program. Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Because no one wanted the old version.
Yeah.
They needed new. They needed something fresh. And that is how Passive Earner Society came to fruition.
Okay.
We did pre-launch runway all month of August.
What does that mean?
For me, that means not accepting money.
Oh.
That means getting people hyped up on a wait list.
Okay, so turning off other options, other offers. They can't join them.
The pre-launch, you could still join the membership, but mainly marketing middle of funnel to existing clients.
Okay.
Hyping them up, something's coming. So I think September is one of the most magical months to launch. I love launching in September.
It's the best
back to
new
school
year
time.
feeling.
Yes, it's the
Everyone
second best.
is so tired in January, I think. in my space.
Off the
September,
holidays.
after you have your summer tan, like you're ready to go.
You're ready to get back to the grind.
You're ready for Q4.
Yes. That was when we decided was the best. And we just got to work, right? Like we hyped it up. I'll never forget looking at how low my August revenue was. I was like, wow,
sad.
I hope this works. Like,
it's a risk.
And we launched with a Amy Porterfield style webinar launch.
Love her.
I built this really new webinar format for me, and it ended up crushing. We love the format. I have been telling everyone about it. It's like teaching the old way, like what you're currently doing, and just shifting your client's belief into what the new way is. And just over and over showing them why what you're doing now doesn't work and what the new way is, and not teaching them how to do it.
Right.
But focusing on why you feel the way you feel, why what you've done in the past hasn't worked, and what you should do now. And just helping them have those quick shifts in belief. By the end, it's like, oh, this guy knows exactly what I'm going through. Like, that is what the energy of that webinar was.
And by the time they have those beliefs, they almost don't care about what the price is going to be.
Yes, right, correct. So we ended up having, we were so close to 100K day launching. It was like right at like 86, 87K for that first day of saying, no, like you can't buy. And then sharing what it was. We had like 900 people on the webinar. We ended up increasing the self-study version of the program from $497 to $1297. Which I was so nervous about.
Yeah, it's a big jump for your audience in the crafting
so
space.
Big. Like the amount of work I've had to do on coaching my brain that, you know, that people have the money, people want to invest. Like, it's hard to believe that when you are used to selling something for $20 a month, which is crazy. And what ended up happening was I got to work with and ended up having a 300K launch and welcoming so many amazing people that were on fire to do the work.
Into a $1,200 program.
It was, so it's a group coaching membership style is how we sold it initially. And the results that started transpiring is probably some of the best client results I've ever gotten.
Amazing.
It's one thing to see someone join your membership and start making t-shirts really quickly. It's not like, can that happen? When you're integrating like a business layer, there's more things to go wrong. There's more belief they have to have in themselves. There's more commitment and skin in the game, financially, mentally, physically. Launching a business is hard.
Yeah.
And being their coach, so our team wanted to meet them where they're at. So we do live coaching calls every month. We have our community. But what ended up happening was these client results were so good. I have one client in particular that went from never being able to make her print-on-demand shop work. She ended up getting, within 2 weeks of this fresh curriculum, she was able to get 9 sales.
Nice.
Like crazy. Like it just ended up like she was able to tweak some things, get some new designs out the door. And she went from struggling to sell. And she ended up getting quite a few orders last year. She's already I think quadrupled her sales for this year, being less than 3 months into the year.
So this is life-changing for people.
I mean, the results, people getting their first sell, getting to sell to strangers is what we teach, selling an automated way to sell to strangers, figure out what's working, to be able to capitalize on that.
Wow.
And that was so inspiring. We noticed that not everyone we're getting to them on a coaching call every month, and people were asking for more support. And what ended up happening was one of my mastermind friends, someone almost as close as we are, challenged me to be like, Tanner, what if you offered a next level version of your program?
Next level beyond the group experience.
Yes. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, how can we get more next level?
Yeah, I'm like, this is my high ticket. And he really challenged me to think of what would be the best experience you could offer. And I was like, well, if we're dreaming, and that's what we did. We were on a ski trip, and I was like, if we're dreaming, I would do the logo for them. I would give them a few done-for-you assets. We would give them an accountability coach. We would, be able to help figure out what designs are right for their niche. Just a little bit more. And I was like, is that possible? And that's when I start audio messaging all my team individually, like all my leadership team. I'm like, what do you think if we did this? What do you think if we did this? What do you think if we did this? And they're all like, Tanner, let's go.
Interesting that the ideas come to you on trips too. You're
Yes.
on the lake, you're on the mountain.
Yeah.
It's like you're just out of your office, and that's when the fresh ideas happen.
Yeah. It's like, it's hard to read it and believe it. You have to experience it.
Yeah.
You have
Okay.
to experience, especially for everyone on your audience. And it's hard to carry a belief that our business can run without us.
Yeah.
It's hard, and that's why I like to get out. That's why I love being in Barcelona. I'm different time zone than my team. I'm able to truly train my nervous system. I can make money and be fully immersed in this beautiful culture.
And the time that we've spent together in Barcelona, it hasn't even looked like you're working.
No, I'm not.
Like you're not running around with your laptop. You're not, oh, sorry, I just got to do this one thing on my phone. You're just chilling. You're just living.
I think I opened my laptop one time to look up one marketing staff.
Yeah.
Like one little thing that I didn't have to do. I was just literally like so excited to be like, how did they enter my funnel?
So you've dreamt up the next level version of your program from what was a $1,200 group coaching experience.
Yeah.
How do we test the market, and what's the price
Elise,
point?
this is crazy. So I had already been promoting a low ticket entry offer that I had been working with another coach on developing. And we were calling it the listing lab.
Okay.
Because when you have an Etsy shop, you have listings.
A listing, okay.
Yes. So we wanted to like show people our like 4-step process in a low ticket environment.
Okay.
So we ended up selling.
I love low ticket.
Love low ticket.
It's like lead gen, but they're customers.
Yes.
So they're more primed to buy the next
They
offer.
show up.
Yes.
And I love it. If you get a financial commitment, you're just so much more likely to show up and do the work. So instead of a 6-month commitment, we're gonna work with them for a year.
You wanted to meet the people who wanted to join this next level.
Yes.
Wow.
So
You wanted to vet them.
I wanted to
personally.
vet them. So I brought a sales team in. So I called the sales team after my leadership. I'm like, can you help me with this? And they're like, yeah, let's go. I was like, okay, cool. Here's everything I'm looking for. And then I was like, okay, at this little event that I invited all my clients to come to and all people interested in what listing looks like, which was not many. I ran a few ads. So we had about 100 tickets.
Okay.
So we invited them all to come together to the listing lab. And it's an over-deliver for my existing clients, not promise, just a little bonus free gift. All of these people into a room for 2 days. And we immerse them in listing. And as we went through this event, we're like, hey, we're doing a beta group of, I thought it would be 10 students. And what ended up happening was we enrolled 42.
Wow. 42 at how much per student?
We gave a discount for anyone that upgraded.
Okay.
So they paid $7,800.
$7,800.
Yeah.
42 people?
Yeah.
Did you have the team in place to support
Yeah,
42 people?
we were ready to accomplish up to 30, and then we just ended up hiring another coach. So we've ended up hiring 2 more coaches, essentially a full client success, and then 2 additional coaches.
And what's the math? 7,800 times 4.
I have no idea.
Okay, so 78 times 42?
Yeah.
300.
Okay.
And
There you go.
27,000 after you already launched the $1,200 version,
Yes.
and that was a $300,000 launch.
And what's crazy to me
We're
is
just
that
compounding here.
well, and
Yeah.
that's what's interesting. It's really hard to, I think, get people to continue a journey. I think it's harder to get people that are already invested to be like, oh, I want to go even deeper with this work and have Tanner's team get me those few things that I just don't want to have to do for myself. And I want to have an automated shop that can do $1,500 a month, $1,200 a month, or whatever their goal is. We'll reverse engineer how much they need to be working. Like if you want $3K a month, that looks very different as if you want $500 a month.
Right.
And a lot of our students, they want to supplement their income. They want to replace their job. They want to have additional streams of income, to take their family on vacation, spend time with their grandkids, things like that.
Yeah. Hearing your story, it amazes me. I've told all my Barcelona friends about you because it feels
So
like
sweet.
you've lived a lifetime of business experience, but are you comfortable sharing how old you are?
I am 20. I thought I was 27. My wife reminded me I'm 26.
Okay, I thought you were going to say 28. No, he's even younger. He's 26.
Yeah.
Which is often like that from my age. That's when I was just getting started in the online space. And a lot of people do enter in their 20s and 30s because they're done with the corporate world and they see the potential of online business space.
When you get started at 12, like I definitely probably relate and feel very similar to your age. So, like I feel like I'm in 30s.
I feel like we're peers. I don't feel an age gap because you're very mature, you're very experienced. And like I said, you've lived a lifetime. Like you took a hobby interest, started YouTubing very early and experimenting, was a creator with brands very early as well. Then a membership creator, now a course creator, now running high ticket coaching programs, and you're 26. So what's the vision for what's next? Do you know where you're going after this?
Oh my gosh, I think about this a lot. I am open to homeschooling my kids. My goal is, to spend as much time with my kids, possibly homeschool, figure out what it looks like to, be able to work really hard and be super present. I think is a lot of the questions I ask myself, like what does education look like for my kids? What does traveling with 3 kids look like? I think it's more of a question of what we, want to do. I think I want to continue working. If you'd asked me in 2019, after I bought my first home, I felt like I needed to have another goal. Like after you buy a home, like you're like, okay, I have a home, like I paid the down payment, like what's next? So I got into investing and I was really set on like a financial independence number just to give my brain something to work towards. And I've had a few detours. I've invested heavily into my home on the lake. We've made a lot of family investments, which is so fun. And ultimately now, I don't think I'll ever stop working. Like I think there's something, it's very different to be financially independent and truly quit working versus showing up and doing the work because you want to. And I think I just want to lean so much more on that regard, because in many regards, I feel very financially independent. I think a lot of people would say I am. In other ways, I don't feel very financially independent. I feel like I, have a lot of responsibility, have a lot of work to do. So it's trying to balance, what does that look like? If I'm saying yes to work and I'm saying yes to being super present with my kids, like how does that work and how does that transpire into a beautiful, evolution? How can I be an example to my clients? That's kind of the question we're asking.
Yeah, it's something we've discussed a lot is, do we want to have a massive empire? Do we want to aim for a $10 or $20 million company? And or do we want to stabilize our business, maintain where it's at, and have more time freedom in our life, especially for family?
I think having a really healthy profit is always go serve you. So if we're picking revenue over profit, I'm gonna pick profit every single day and twice on Sunday of really having a healthy business. If you can have a healthy, profitable business, it beats anyone else out there sharing their crazy, like 7-figure launches or whatever it may be.
What's the take home?
Staying very profitable is always go serve you.
I don't know if you share your numbers publicly or not, so I will delete this if not, but do you feel comfortable sharing what your revenue is at today and rough profit margins?
Sure. Last year, I think we've been very stable at like $3 million a year. And I probably have like a 30 to 40% profit margin, working 20, 25 hours a week and being very present, traveling, and staying very fully supported. I believe so heavily in supporting myself and having team to do the work that's we're meant to do. I love being able to have a thriving team and creating a vision large enough that can house other people's vision in there. When my team members say, like, I'm doing the work that I only dreamed I could do, I have my dream job, like, that's how I know, like, this is working, for me and the fellow team.
I think what I find most impressive about you is there are many paths to a $3 million a year business. We know many people to get there in different ways. But you've done so in a way that's allowed you to still maintain a really healthy family life and raise 3 young babies.
So fun.
Travel, work most, like, would you say part-time?
So Courtney and I my wife, we don't have much outside help. We have our nanny 32 to 36 hours a week. And we do date night in that. We run our businesses in that. And we just get it done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it all shakes out. I go to the gym class. I probably get 20 to 25 hours of deep work.
Exactly.
And I think that's different. You know, what happens as you get time constraint is you just work more effectively. You get really deep into the work and you get a lot done, and it's beautiful. Is it Parkinson's law? Like you're going to use however much time you have. Yeah. I practice that and I'm a result of that every day.
I was going to say, what's your secret? Because one other aspect of your life we didn't talk about is you are a property manager as well. You have
investor.
Investor. And an owner and manager of many properties. So another investment or income stream.
Sure.
And I was going to say, what's your secret? But I think you've just nailed it in that you work within the constraints you give yourself, right? If you give yourself an 8-hour day to build your webinar slides, it will take that long, or you can do it in 2 hours if that's what you give yourself.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's
100%. You know, I remember I built my 300K launch webinar that I've used by now 20 plus times. I built that in probably 2 1-hour sittings at Starbucks.
Wow.
You know, sitting there, and I work until I'm not getting the results anymore, and I'm willing to stop. I'm not pushing myself. I definitely probably have undiagnosed ADHD. And
common in entrepreneurship.
Very common, and I just lean straight into it. You know,
you get hyper-focused.
I get hyper-focused. I get very vigilant. One thing I think I really strive in is managing, seeing other people and training them to get the work done. Because I know that I only have such little time, and I want to stay in my 20% that is creating 80% of your results. What I'm finding now is, aside from being on camera in my business, the quickest way to getting what I want is training up other leaders. And I think that's my work over the next 5, 10, probably my entire life, is like, how can I hold people in a leadership way and like help them develop their muscle of leadership? Like, how can I raise up a level of leaders in my small environment? I don't feel like I have a large team.
I love that, because it allows you to scale your business without you, but it also impacts the lives of other people.
Yes.
They can go on to run their own businesses, become coaches, like life-changing.
You know, since the mastermind we met in, the biggest thing that I have been able to grow personally is if anyone on my team, in regards to my 2 assistants who are amazing, I would have a little mental breakdown if either one of them left. But in other regards, if anyone else on my team came to me and said, Tanner, you know, I got an opportunity elsewhere and I really want to go for it, I feel so much more comfortable and less codependent on them. And if my assistants came to me and wanted to leave, I would have a conversation and be willing, but, you know, trusting that there's space for people to come and go and there's room for other people. And having to learn how to fire people has been really hard for me.
Yeah.
But what's been beautiful on the other side of that is anyone we've ever ended a contract with, ended a relationship with, they've went on to so many better opportunities. And it's one thing to try to believe it before you see it. I just feel so much more comfortable knowing that they're capable of 100%. Even better opportunities for themselves. Yeah. So yeah, I think those are things that you have to just experience in entrepreneurship before you believe it. And I think that's why people can fire with no drama, because they're like, oh no, they just don't work here. Like there's no,
it's black and white.
It's black and white. And like, I'm getting more and more comfortable and more belief in that, that, oh, they just need to separate sooner so that they can get to their highest level somewhere else.
Move on.
Yeah.
Would you say Tim Ferriss has been your silent mentor through all of this?
Oh, loud and proud for me.
Have you ever met him before?
Well, okay.
Because that book must be the best investment you've ever
It's the best investment I ever made. I recently was at my coffee shop at my house in Florida.
No.
And someone walks in the door and it's Mel Robbins.
What?
Yeah. So I'm sitting there about to interview someone at my coffee shop at my house in Florida.
Massive right now.
Mel Robbins is massive. And she opens the door and she walks in. I said, are you Mel Robbins? And she said, I am. I said, shut up. I said, congrats on your new book. And she said, I know, right? It's selling more than fiction right now. I said, that's crazy. Wow. And then we have a mutual connection. So we have the same YouTube consultant. I was like, oh, do you know Drew? And she was like, of course I know Drew. So then she's like, do you want anything? And we had a great encounter. So I'm like, okay, am I just manifesting these like encounters? So like Tim Ferriss would be probably the number 1 person I would love to meet. I feel like I'll just run into him on like the ski slopes.
And Mel knows Tim.
Sure, yeah.
Right? We're
I
getting
don't know.
closer and closer.
We're getting closer and closer. I was in Costa Rica and ran into another like online Ryan Moran, who's also cool. So he also has a mutual connection to the same guy I know Drew through. So it's kind of weird.
Something's brewing.
Something's brewing.
Yeah.
I get to be here with you in Barcelona.
You're a manifester as well.
Apparently, I don't know. Just running into these people. So yeah, I would love to meet Tim, more so to just thank him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would say it's been probably the most impactful for my personal life, for my thoughts about myself. I used to believe that my worth came from the work I do. And Tim also talks about disconnecting who you are as a person to the business you run that provides your lifestyle. And like that, like talk about the value in that. Like that's priceless. Like for me to meet someone, if they ask what I do, I literally say, I teach crafts online, period.
Yeah.
And like moving on, like back, and I can direct the conversation back to them. And like, it's not I don't want to tell people about what I do online anymore. I work out at a gym and like everyone, kind of knows everyone. And like, just like, I just work online. Like, and it's so easy. It's so seamless because I don't feel like I need them to validate anything. I get to work really hard and then not feel guilty when I'm not working. When I get to be here, I don't feel like I've abandoned my audience. Like they are fully supported with my current staff, my 7 days a week support. Yeah, it's the free. Like what would you pay? Like I would give up so much of my business to
freedom and health. I would pay anything for.
My favorite thought right now is like, if you have your health, you have everything. So if you wake up with your health, like even today, like I took a taxi and I was like, I can just walk here. It's gonna be almost an hour, but it's great. Like it's so fun.
Walked from Sagrada Familia across town to my home and showed up camera ready. So no big deal.
So fun.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yes, and I know people are watching this wondering how they can find you, how they can connect. Because some people might want to learn Cricut from you. Some people might want you to be their coach.
Sure.
So where's the best way for them to
connect?
You
can follow me on Instagram. You can go to makersgonnalearn.com.
Makers Gonna Learn.
Join a few things, join a few funnels, see how simple or complex. I don't know. Follow me online, message me. I'll probably answer any questions you have.
And for anything, just follow Tanner for the energy, right? The energy, the positivity. You can see it just exuding from you as you talk about your story. You're so humble. You've accomplished so much. And that's what the world needs a little more of, is that positivity and that cup half full. So I've seen that even on this trip. So I'm inspired. I've learned so much from you. So
fun.
Thanks for being here.